talk to you about that darn F chord and about bar chords in general, but the F chord specifically. And just want to say, first off, that on acoustic guitar, bar chords for me are less common. On electric guitar, I'll play bar chords all day long. It's not a big deal. In fact, I'll probably gravitate towards bar chords and power chords before I would gravitate towards open chords. However, one of the things that I want to hear when I'm playing acoustic guitar is I want to hear open strings. You know, these ringing. And that's hard to have when you're playing a bar chord. You have no open strings on a bar chord. And that's kind of one of the pros of a bar chord, is that because there are no open strings, and this is true of any chord that has no open strings, it's completely movable. So if this is a major chord, this is F major, if this is a major chord, so is this, and so is this, and so is this, all the way up the neck. So essentially when you learn one chord, you've learned 12 chords, because you couldn't really do a bar chord at the 12th fret. But if you had a cutaway or on electric, you would literally be able to play all 12 major chords if you just knew one chord. And that's kind of the beauty of a bar chord. It's kind of the beauty of the guitar in general. Piano, you have to learn every chord individually, but on guitar you can learn one chord and move it around, and it stays the same as far as its tonality goes. And that's tonality is whether it's a major chord or a minor chord or any, seventh or any of those kind of things. Okay. However, and the F chord, this F chord is an E form, right? This looks like an E chord. If I were to take off my first finger and then slide my, okay, that's an E chord. I like to think of kind of this as a capo. Your first finger is kind of like a human capo. Now, if I were playing in the key of C, there would be the four main key chords in the key of C would be the C chord, the A minor chord, the G chord, and the F chord. And three of the four of those have open strings. Okay, so I've got C, A minor, it's got open strings, and G, open strings, and then I get to F. And it's a little bit darker than the other chords because it doesn't have any of those open ringy strings. So I have a video, I'll link to it in this video, video of giving you alternatives to playing the F chord. There's open ones that you can do that have some open strings. They're not pure major chords, but they're alternatives that sometimes work. Okay, now I'm going to give you an example that using a capo that, and this is the best tool. If you don't have a capo, you need to get one. But if, like for example, Fire and Rain by James Taylor is in the key of F. Well, he's not playing in first position with, playing bar chords or anything like that. He's actually capoed at 3rd fret. And then what he's doing is he's playing in the key of or using D shapes. So it feels like you're in the key of D, but he's really still in the key of F. And that's an F chord. So that's a lot easier F chord than playing this bar. He's just like... picking my hand. Okay, so you can see where that's very pretty. It's really easy. Like this F chord, I can do all sorts of embellishments to. So, but that's not what we're learning today. We're learning bar chords. Okay, so I'm going to give you some tips to how to finally get that thing to finally get to the point where you can actually play a bar chord. Okay, the first tip is keep the first finger straight. If you bend any of the joints, you're probably going to be deadening strings, okay? Unless you have very large hands, this much of your hand is not enough to cover. I can only cover 4 strings with that part. So I've literally got to keep my hand totally straight like this, and in order to reach over and get all 6 strings. Now, this is also, by the way, my folk singer is probably the hardest guitar I have to play bar chords on. That's why I'm using it, because I wanted to show you that it's not even easy for me. I don't want you to be too discouraged if you can't get a F chord right away, or even over a short period of time. It's going to take you a while. But once you have it down, you should have it down. Okay, and I'm going to try not to give you too many things to think about. It's like a golf lesson. Working on your golf swing, they give you 35 things to think about. Basically, we want to keep our finger completely straight like that. Okay. And then the other thing you want to do is you want to keep your thumb back here. See that? See, my thumb is directly back there, and I'm going to show you why. If you open your hand, you can spread your fingers like this, okay? As soon as you close your hand and close your fingers, all your fingers want to go to the center of the palm of your hand, like this. So, if the guitar neck is in the palm of your hand, you're holding it like a baseball bat, then your fingers are not going to be able to do what they need to do. If you bring your thumb around, now the palm of your hand is far enough away from the fingerboard, and you're able to get your fingers to all do what they need to do. Okay, if I bring my hand like this, it's all going to scrunch up. So you're going to have to get your thumb behind the neck, like that, and you're going to have to keep your first finger straight. And I've even taken wadded up a piece of paper and put it in the palm of a student's hand, so that forces them to keep some air in between the neck and their hand, the palm of their hand. Okay, now another thing you can do, so the thumb placement and the first finger, what I would suggest doing is plucking, just doing the bar, just the first finger alone, no other fingers, and pluck each string individually. And you're probably going to get a lot of, okay? It's going to take a while, it's going to need some strength, and you're going to have to kind of feel it and kind of move around, and also get right up against the fret, not on top of the fret, but just behind the fret. Okay, and also another thing, this part, F is, of all the bar chords, F is one of the hardest because you're working against the nut. The nut is doing its job of holding the strings up off the frets, and you're trying to push the strings down onto the frets. So you're fighting a nut. The further up you get up your neck, a lot of times it gets easier because the tension is less. You're not fighting the nut up here. And you can even feel it if you push down the string at the 12th fret. You can feel that it's much squishier, I guess you could say. So you're fighting that, so try to get every note to ring out. See, notice I have my second finger laying over my first. Okay, take that off, try not to use that. And even I'm struggling with it. And then go up the fretboard, and just kind of do that, and try to get the strength up, all right? And maybe even, kind of rub your hand if it gets a little sore. The muscle in here between your first finger and your thumb is going to kind of get tight. And then you can go at it again, okay? Now, however, when you finally put down the E shape on top of this, or in front of the bar, now instead of having to depend on the bar for 6 notes, you only have to depend on the bar for 3 notes. The 6th string and the top 2 strings, okay? Because now these fingers are taking up the other 3 strings. So if you can get this down without the second finger on top, you will have no problem getting this down, and it should ring out really, really nice, okay? And then you can start practicing moving that up and down to the fretboard. Okay, now if you have a flat fretboard like this one is a very flat fretboard. Most guitars have a slight curve to them, but classical guitars, and this is a folk singer, so it's kind of a folk guitar, they often have flat fingerboards. My classical guitar teacher way back in college told me that I could actually bend my first finger a little bit if I turn it to its side. And that sometimes helps get what you need to get, to get the pressure that you need on the bottom string and on the top 2 strings. So there is a possibility that you might be able to slightly bend your first finger. Okay? All right, now, I'm going to show you 4 chords using this bar chord. The F chord, which you have right here. Now, and again, like I said, only 3 of the notes on this chord depend on that bar. Okay? F minor, now I can take my second finger and put it on top. Okay? F minor has 4 notes that depend on the bar. Okay? I have the bottom string and then the top 3. And then I have these 2 there. That's F minor. Again, these are all movable chords. So when I show you an F chord here, that's 12 chords. F minor, that's 12 more chords. That's 24 chords right there. Okay. Now, if I take go back to the F chord and I take my pinky off, that's an F7 chord. Oftentimes used in blues, Now, I'm having trouble with this one though. Like if I pluck through this, bottom string, 5th string, 4th string is tough. It's tough to get that 4th string to ring out. Okay? If I were standing up, it's easier. And that's another thing, kind of the ergonomics of how you sit and stand and how you, where your elbow is and everything. You notice I'm tucking my elbow in for some of this. Okay. And then the last one would be F minor 7, and that's because I can put my second finger back on top of my first, I can get that one to ring out. And that this one has 5 of the 6 notes depending on the bar. There you go. Okay, but again, totally movable. So you have F, F minor, F7, and F minor 7. That's 4 chords times 12, that's 48 chords that you just learned. So it's really cool. That's the cool thing about bar chords. And again, on electric guitar, it's much easier and much more common. All right. Now, here's a tip. Now, once you have the sound down, and even before you have the sound down, you can actually practice this. Practice going from the F chord to chords that you already know and can play. Like, for example, and just do 1 strum of each. Maximize your practice time, okay? We don't have a lot of time to practice. Sometimes we've got a lot of things to do. So, and this would be something you might want to do at the beginning of your practice time so you don't get too, before you're tired. And then do something fun at the end of your practice time, because this is not fun. So play F, and then play C, and then play F, and then play G, and then play F, and then A minor, and then play F, and then E minor. There's no particular rhyme or reason to these chords. D minor, F, you could even do like A minor 7, or you could do F and E7, you could do F and A7, whatever chords you know. The idea is just to try to get your fingers trained to move all at once to their next chord, okay? And if you want, you can go back and forth just between 2 chords. Like you could go F and C, because that's a very common progression. Now, here's something you'll notice right away. I'm bringing my thumb around for the C. Well, there's 2 reasons for that. One, I'm lazy. I don't need to have my thumb back here for C. And I can make a C chord sound amazing, because I'm that good, without bringing my thumb back to the back of the neck. But also I'm bringing it around to mute the E string. Okay, that way I have a C chord that's just 5 strings, and I don't have to worry about my right hand and moderating the intensity of my right hand. I can strum. But you'll notice when I go to the F chord, my thumb goes right back. Anytime I'm doing something difficult, my thumb's going to be behind the neck. Anytime I'm doing something that's very easy for me, I'm probably going to have my thumb hooked on the neck just to hold my arm up, because I'm lazy. See the way it stays. All right. See, I'm a guitar instructor and a comedian. All right. So, I think that's everything I wanted to cover. Yep, I got everything. So, I hope this helps. I'm gonna do another one in a couple weeks for the B flat chord and the D chord and the B minor chord and those chords. And then I've also got more videos coming, more tips. And so stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Take care.